Welcome, America. We are live. It is Farmer Haj the God. This is I Said It First. So it's midnight politics, culture, rants, gender wars, all that shit. So I'm going to talk slow, get all my thoughts out. Hopefully the kids are asleep, but one fucking never knows. I don't know how the Rona has affected y'all house situation, but my kids basically don't fucking go to bed ever. They wake up like at noon on a good day. So we'll see. See how it goes. I just had to scream at them. Like, y'all little motherfucking ass to bed. The Rona got everybody tripping, doing fucking live streams, figuring out shit, being artistic and whatever. But let's get right into politics. All right. Now, just to give you a little perspective, I don't particularly fit in what you would say is a left-right paradigm. Now, I believe that nobody does actually, and the whole notion of left versus right is pretty antiquated. I think it's more power versus the powerless, right? If you're a donor and you get invited to private parties, it doesn't matter what party you're part of. I guess the difference between a Republican who's in the ruling part of the class and the Democrat is guilt, right? So a Republican, the Republicans cater to the tycoons who are unencumbered by conscience. And the Democrats get like, you know, the Bill Gateses and the people like that who, you know, they're genuinely good people, but they're not that good. Like they're not trying to upset the apple cart. I had a thought. So I was thinking, if you add up all the billionaires in America, and I think there's thousands of them, I'm not sure, but I would imagine, and I don't have the time to do the research. I'm a single dad. I got 5 kids, right? So I'm not doing all that. I'm not having no damn, what do you call that? Polls, data, none of that shit. I'm just going to make it up as I go, like the president. But I imagine that's trillions of dollars if you add up all the billionaires, right? So take, you know, Jeff Bezos, for example. I'm getting a text right now. Let me mute my computer. Does that mute me? Can you still hear me? Yeah, I think so. And he has $100 billion. Let's take all the billionaires, divide them niggas by 2, right? What does that leave them? They're still fucking billionaires, right? If you have 100 billion and the government says, give me half, like a one-time, what do you call it? Wealth tax, right? And you get all that money brought back and redistributed. Yeah, we're talking about redistributing the wealth to those that need it, right? How bad off would they be? Furthermore, all the money's going back to them, right? I mean, if Jeff Bezos gave up 50 billion to the people, they're just going to fucking Amazon and buying shit. It's all going right back to them. So I don't understand the need to be greedy, right? The need. Oh shit, I messed up. Some kicks, don't worry. This is my first official. There we go. That's better. I got to figure that part out. I got to stay in the greens and the yellows and try not to talk too loud. All right. So I think that if I was to advise the ruling class, I would say you better divide by 2 because the pitchforks are coming. Now, I don't know what the fuck is supposed to happen come May 1st. My birthday, by the way. Hey, gifts are welcome. Oh, I was supposed to put on the live stream comments, but I don't know how to do it. I'm going to figure this out. Don't worry. Don't you worry. But if I was to give them some advice, I would say you should beat them to the punch and give money to those that need it. Because come May, people are going to start getting evicted from their homes. They have to. Because there's talk on TV and then there's the reality in the world. Like, for example, I'm telling you a personal story. My insurance got, what do you call it? Like, so here's the thing. I pay everything automatic, right? Out of my car, out of my account or out of my card, right? Because I don't have time for bills. I just don't, right? But I always lose my cards. And then every time I lose a card, I gotta go through that whole process of getting all the automatic shit back up to date. And I always forget something. So this time I forgot to do my car insurance, right? So they dropped me from car insurance and I had to go get new car insurance, right? Or else I'm going to lose my license. Now, what happens now for me is okay. I have the ability to go get car insurance, but put a pin in that because I want to talk about reparations as it relates to quantifying the cost of racism. Actually, fuck it. Let me digress now. There's a lot of talk, or not actively, but you've heard about reparations right now. What does that mean and how do you quantify that? Well, here's an example. Like, this is not the end all and be all, but here's just one example. All right. I get paid attention to in a car like a lot of other black men do, more so than others, right? It just is what it is. And we should just admit that as a society, right? So the consequence of that being paid attention to is that you're going to get tickets, right? Tickets have a direct consequence to the cost of your insurance. So I believe, like, for example, when a cop sees you and they pull you over, and then when they pull you over, they realize, okay, he's not some bad guy. He's a family dude. Look at all the shit in the car. He's a veteran. He's squared away. I'm going to go ahead and apologize and say, you know what? I was checking you out. You seem like you're all right. My bad. That ain't going to never happen. What the cop will do is say, you weren't wearing your seatbelt or yada, yada, yada. Now you say, well, you should be wearing your seatbelt. Well, this happened to me. I'm coming out the parking lot. This is just like 6 months ago. The parking lot, not like on the fucking freeway. I just like, you know, you get out the parking lot, you just start to put your seatbelt on. Cop got me putting on the seatbelt, right? So fast forward to my insurance drop, my fault, right? I fucking, you know, I'm not an organized person. What can I say, right? Then when I have to go get new insurance, the rates are jacked up because of the seatbelt. So I believe that the government or either the insurance companies or somebody needs to have basically a handicap, just like you do in horse racing, right? My 4 tickets equals 1 ticket by a white boy. I'm just saying. I mean, we should be adults about it. Racism exists, whatever the fuck. Just bake it into the cake, right? Write it into something where we can quantify that. We all use smart coders and shit. You can do algorithmic and heuristics and blah, 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 and data and figure out what it costs. What is the cost of being black, right? But I'm not going to play the race card all the time. Matter of fact, I had this little thought project about race. I think about things a lot. What is it? You ponder that while I get some delicious H2O in my system. And why is it so consequential? Why are people so emotional and passionate about race? Is it the pigmentation? Oh, look, my movie title got stuck. Let me do this. Let me go to 3. Go to 3. Switch, and then go back to 2. My computer is definitely in need of an upgrade. This broadcast might be crashing. Hopefully you guys are still there. It looks like it's still broadcasting. The little lower third didn't animate properly, but whatever. It's a working process. I will upgrade my my Mac laptop shortly, but fuck it. So I had a thought project. There's basically 5 races, right? You got black, white, Mexican, Indian, and Chinese as your 5 basic races, and everybody else kind of some sort of mulatto. They fit in there somewhere, right? What if we woke up tomorrow and there are no more white people? Oh, now the graphics working. Now, by that, I mean the people who were white yesterday are now different shades of brown, like black people. But mentally, they still remember the power structure and what it was like to be white. But they wake up tomorrow and they're just brown. The fuck would happen? Think about it. Would they try to preserve some sort of distinction between the original brown black people? Or would they be like, fuck it, our pigment's the same, and that was the distinction, not the culture, right? And would it also illuminate differences more amongst their own culture? Because we paint things as flat, black, white, right? But they're not. White people from West Virginia, coal workers, poor, hard scrabble, have very little to do culturally with Nancy Pelosi, right? Their lives aren't the same. So they are all brown tomorrow. With the Nancy Pelosi's brown people combine with the Barack Obama brown people and form a new sort of like bourgeois? Or would they try to figure something else out? It's just an interesting thought project. I think you should all ponder that. Oh, fuck. Let me move this damn lower third. Hide that one. And then... oh, whatever. I don't know what's going on. So it's just something to think about. Now let's get into politics. Now, the first person I want to talk about, Biden, that mess of a man, Biden. Corn pop Biden. We're going to watch that video together. It is worth watching. But let's talk about Jim Clyburn. There's been some talk now where Clyburn and his and you hear what's her name, the chick from Georgia, Stacey Dash or Stacey Abrams, whatever, talking about, in so many words, he better pick a black woman, right? But what I would say is, if that was important to Clyburn, that wouldn't even be up for discussion, right? Because as we all know, Clyburn got Biden elected. Nobody voted for Biden. They voted for the endorsement of Clyburn in South Carolina. Then all the Democratic Party bosses circled the wagons, and he ran through Super Tuesday, right? This is literally the first candidate who was going to win a party nomination, and nobody had any sort of affection for him directly, right? And people talk about how, he relates to people and the empathy angle and all that jazz. So there's no policy. It's basically, I'm a nice guy. Look at me and my family. Well, let's look at your family then. If that's the case, I'm going to say what the other pundits won't say, right? His son, Hunter Biden, had a relationship with his dead brother's wife. Now, if you don't think that the Republicans, rightly so, are going to exploit that, you're tripping. If your whole point of being president is I can empathize because my kids died, because he had the 2 younger kids that died, I think the wife that died in a car crash. I might be wrong about that, but I believe, and like I said, I'm not going to necessarily. I got a little alert that said the stream quality has been lowered. I guess my bandwidth is fucked up. But I digress. The family's fucked up. Hunter Biden seems like a real douchebag, right? He's capitalizing on his parents' name, and he's making this money, and he's sleeping with his dead brother's wife, or was. I don't know if he still is. That's fucking weird. And I think the Bidens in general are weird. But let's get back to Clyburn for a second. Now, if Clyburn... Now, I don't necessarily agree that the color of the person's skin running fucking matters, right? I'll admit I was happy the first time Obama got elected, right? But policy-wise, I'm more of a Bernie. I'm a Bernie bruh. Not a bro, but a bruh. And Obama, you know, he's a typical politician. He's elegant, well-spoken and whatnot, but he wasn't revolutionary or even, how would I say, he's status quo, right? So the pigment of somebody does not really matter. But inclusion, like if it's a tie, like if there was a black Bernie Sanders and Bernie Sanders, I would go for the black one, you know, just out of tribal loyalty or, you know, whatever. There's been enough white niggas president. I was some black niggas, right? But if that is your thing, you're Jim Clyburn, and you really gave a shit, right? If that was really your thing, you could have called Bernie or Biden, either one, right? You could have made the phone call and said, I'm endorsing the first motherfucker who will guarantee right now, say it publicly, my running mate will be a black female. He had all the leverage. So why is Biden acting like he's running things? He got there because of Clyburn's endorsement. That was the genesis of the Biden comeback. So my conspiracy or my other angle, which I think is accurate, is Clyburn, all those little Negro commentators on CNN and MSNBC, the power structure in Washington, black and white, but I'm talking about the black folks right now. They don't give a shit about black empowerment. They give a shit about the status quo being intact. Because if you have power in an existing system, then that system, by definition, works for you. So the racial angst and friction that they can cultivate into campaign contributions and then votes, access, and a lifestyle that works for them. So was it Clyburn's decision to support Biden, or was it the Democratic Party and the donors telling him, boy, you better do what we tell you to do? And that's what I think his country ass did. I think he's a house nigga. Like most of those people that are elected to represent us, they don't. Once you get in power, then you're there to stay in power. Now, policy-wise, it's not really a question that the policies of Bernie Sanders are more advantageous to the majority of black Americans. That's really not a question. So you have to ask yourself, what is the motive for somebody like Clyburn to endorse a Biden over a Bernie Sanders? I get the Barack Obama thing, right? That was, you know, the first black president, right? But Biden, like, what is the draw there? And I believe that it's a fear of real change, right? Obama's whole thing was hope and change, right? But nothing really changed. You had Obamacare, and frankly, it fucking sucks. That was pretty much the only policy thing he did. There's some executive things, and we can get into that later, but that was the major accomplishment, which was pretty milquetoast at best. It's Romneycare, right? So why not Bernie? Why Biden? Bernie, if he had the media and the Democratic establishment behind him, he was running away with this thing. But they put out all stops to stop this man. Never before have you seen the fucking third place, second. everybody circled the wagons on Biden to go against Bernie after South Carolina. Bernie had 3 straight states in the bag. Biden had 1, right? I think it's because Bernie can't be controlled. He would take the power to the people. And I think there's an interesting refrain that last debate, which was, who has power in America? And I think that's the fundamental question, is who has power? See, libertarians see it one way and they get it half right, but the other half wrong. And socialists, I'm going to say the word socialist, because we say liberal or left, I think people conflate that with Democrat, and that's bullshit. Because the Democratic Party is not left as in socialist. The Democratic Party is corporatist. The Republican Party is corporatist, right? Then you have libertarians on the right wing who are for small government and against government power. On the socialist side, they are against consolidated corporate power. But in reality, it's a distinction without a difference. It's the power. There's collusion between the government and business, which is fascism. Look at the latest round of bailouts, right? How the fuck did it come up with all this money when just weeks prior, right before the Rona hit, they were laughing at Bernie Sanders because of, even if you accepted their numbers, $35 trillion, right? Which is bullshit, but let's say that was right. 35 trillion over 10 years. That's 3.5 trillion a year, right? According to them, right? That means no more bills, no more copays. How much more money is in your pocket? How much more money will you spend? How much growth will that leave in the economy? Let's forget about that. 3.5 trillion taking their math. They just handed out upwards of $5 trillion and it's still coming. So I call bullshit on there not being enough money. All right. I think that's a crock of shit. It's convenient. And I think one constant you can always be sure of in America, in any capitalist society, is big bank take little bank. All right. A lot of you have heard the story of Ruth Chris got millions of dollars of the small business money, right? A lot of small restaurants, there are actually small businesses going out of business, right? It's particularly restaurants. Ruth Chris ain't one of them, but they took millions. And it was a big story, right? Everybody's outraged. But did they get the money back? So that's what I would like to hopefully do in this channel, but also just see in the media in general, is the follow through to the stories, right? Because we all have ADD, I believe. Everybody got outraged who heard the story about Ruth Chris. But Ruth Chris still has the money, unless, they gave it back and I don't know about it. But that's what it's about. Who has the power? Who has the money? All right. Now I got to look at some notes because I'm losing my my train of thought here. Hold on. Let's go to screen share. Now let me do this first. Don't worry, y'all. Don't adjust your dial. I will be right back. Okay, so let me do this now. I've been feeling some kind of way, right? And I'm sure a lot of y'all have, who were hopeful that it looked like this time Bernie was going to win. It looked like, you know what? 2016, they kept him out. Hillary Clinton, a lot of power there. But this time they ran the B team, right? Oh, allow me to digress too before I go into it. Biden, why Biden? Has it ever crossed your mind as a political observer that perhaps the Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumers, the CNNs, the MSNBCs, because look, they're part of the Democratic Party. Let's just be real. They coordinate. And we'll get to that a little bit later if we get time, maybe tomorrow, because I'm doing this every night at midnight, around midnight, CP time. All right. I am black. With the Tar Reid thing. Now, I don't know how they're getting away with it. The hypocrisy is so blatant, it's laughable. The same people who are outraged at Trump for his serial sexual indiscretions are silent about the Tara Reade story, and there's way more evidence for Joe Biden being I don't know what the legal definition is, but I'm gonna go ahead and say what happened, because I think we use the terms like sexual harassment and assault in a generic way, and I think the specificity is important. He finger raped her. I don't know how else to explain it, but he digitally penetrated this woman against her will. And that's okay. I mean, where are the, what's her name, Alyssa Milanos and all the Me Too? There's one, Rowan McGowan, I think's her name. She's the only real one that's been consistent. All these Me Too folks, silent. CNN, silent. When Brett Kavanaugh had his deal in high school, and the accusation from Ford, which I believe also, but that was high school. And the accusation, even if you believe it 100%, is less significant than the accusation Tara Reade made. Tara Reade's making an accusation of penetration versus Ford, who's making an accusation of a drunken attempt of a schoolboy that never actually materialized. It was brutish and boorish. But even if it was proven, as I understand it, I don't know that a crime occurred. If what Biden did is proven, that is a criminal offense. Now, statute of limitations are obviously gone, and the records are sealed. Like, she claims to have made a claim against Biden, but those records are sealed in some sort of Delaware Senate thing or something like that. I don't know. I don't know the rules of that, but why don't they just unseal them? Like, I feel like if Congress, if the Democrats are going to have any sort of credibility going forward, and when I say Democrats, I mean their media allies, to include CNN and MSNBC, Washington Post, the New York Times, and the Democratic establishment, and they're to have any credibility going forward when it comes to sexual indiscretions from the other side, right, from Republican politicians ever again, then they have to at least do what they did to Kavanaugh. There needs to be a hearing. Biden cannot become president with this accusation without some sort of public vetting. I'm convinced of that. I'd like to know your thoughts. So, as far as feeling some kind of way, I don't know about you guys, but let me see if I can get all this shit out the way. I've already made up my mind. There is no way that I'm going to vote for Joe Biden. I'm just not. And I think that it is time in America for us to have a real third party. And I think I have the solution. So I want you guys to read my manifesto along with me. I'm going to switch to screen share number 3. All right. I call it the American Farmers Party. And this is the manifesto. We are the farmers, not in the literal sense that each of us till the land, but in the metaphorical sense that we are connected to the land and our food supply. And in these times of crippling division, to the point that the functioning of our national government is cartoonishly inept, it is up to us, the farmers, to right the ship. In order to heal the wounds that divide America along culture, our time demands a political party that can cut through those divisions to focus on what is needed to bind the workers of America: liberty and fairness. The American Farmers Party is unwaveringly, my computer's about to crash, focused on liberty and fairness as our core organizing principles. Our 5 pillars that fork from that central theme are justice, health, work, education, and housing. For example, the AMF is in opposition to all manifestations of the police state, whether that be incarceration of nonviolent drug offenders, cash bail, racial profiling, private prisons, mandatory sentencing, and the list goes on. The AMF believes that free people make for a fair nation. We believe access to good health care is a right, not a privilege. We believe that all our children deserve a world-class education, regardless of their birthright. We believe that workers deserve respect and an opportunity to live out their lives unburdened by unnecessary complexities. Bookmark that. I'm going to talk about complexities later. If you work, pay your taxes, and obey the laws of the land, you have a decent place to live and food on the table, period. And your children will have the same opportunities afforded to them as the economically privileged. The American Farmers Party is purposely neutral on all social and cultural issues. This is the important part. Pay attention here. Whether you're a pro-life, culturally conservative person living in West Virginia or a pro-choice, culturally progressive person living in Brooklyn, New York, what binds us is that we are all farmers. We are the labor of this great nation. We are no longer going to allow the puppeteers to control us with cultural divisions which dilute our power. We have the power of numbers, and we will advocate on our behalf vociferously and relentlessly. We believe that life in America has become too complex. We believe opportunity has become more and more elusive for the poor, the workers of America. We demand liberty and fairness, evidenced by work, health, education, housing, and justice. We cannot be divided on issues of culture, be they race, gender, sexuality, or other. We remain focused. Our test is simple. Does the issue have implications to one of our 5 pillars? If it does, we take a position. If not, we don't. We will not have superdelegates, donors, lobbyists, or any other forms of rank. We are a community of farmers, each with a job to do and a voice to be heard. All AMF members will belong to a community that has each other's back. We will fight for one another when the bill collectors come harassing. We have the numbers. Millions of us fighting together against corrupt politicians, collection agencies, insurance companies, or any entity that impacts liberty and fairness. We will fight. We are the American Farmers Party. All right, let me go back to note 2. Oops, I messed up. There we go. It's hard being on camera and working these buttons. Speaking of which, program note. If you are a person who's interested in streaming, getting out there, politics, talk, please reach out to me. I need some help with the graphics and with the production because this shit is hard to do. So complexity. And this is one of the things I wish Bernie would have included in his case, right? It's not just the dollars and cents. It's the complexity. You have health insurance. You go to the doctor. It's not like you just pay your bills. They send you shit. They're like, why you send this to me? Right? Why is life so complicated? All I should be able to do is just work, buy all the little nice shit I want, pay my rent, car insurance, health insurance, college. It's just too complicated. And I think that Medicare for all has I don't care if it is more expensive, it has the added advantage of letting you sleep at night calmly. God forbid there's another pandemic or something else which causes you to be between jobs. And then at that time, especially during a now they want to say, we'll cover everything. Why not cover everything all the time? What is so special about Corona that everybody's a socialist for that thing? But if you have cancer, fuck it. Somebody has to explain that to me. I don't get the logic. Now, allow me to digress. Let me tell you what I was going to do. I was going to do a little product demonstration. If you're wondering where all these great ideas come from, this is my muse. This is the volcano. Now, there's a piece that goes on here, which contains my flower material, right? So I'm getting off politics a little bit. It's a lot of stress. So let me just unwind a little bit. But I can't find a thing. I'm sure other weed heads can relate, especially single parent weed heads with fucking kids in the house stuck with you all day long because of the Rona. Where did I put my weed? Hopefully they ain't got it. Speaking of which, my son came home high the other day. I wanted to beat his ass. Now, this right here is a Santa Cruz grinder. Now, I love this grinder because of the heft. It's big. That's what she said. It's just a great grinder. But then, like most grinders, you see there's the pollen trap, or keef as you Negroes call it. But I want the key in the usability of scooping out that keef is a pain in the fucking ass. So I like the grinder, but I wanted to keep my keef and my flour together. Well, that's where that baby comes in. Now, you take this, you can attach it to any sort of masonry jar. I like these, by the way, for fellow plant lovers. You want to make it opaque because the light will drain the phyto, whatever the chemicals from the plant over time. You keep it in a dark place, and this is opaque. It's nice, and it's smell proof. Fits on, right? So now you got this. You take this, right? My keyboard. So I'm going to leave this on the table. I don't need that part. I just take my grinder element, put it right on here. Now, I take my material, my hemp CBD material. Take one nug just for demonstration's sake. Now, this is where the ideas come from. And after, I think I'm going to write my notes down because my computer locked up. So that's why I'm kind of wandering right now. I can't get to my fucking notes. It's not that I'm stupid. And what you're left with let's see. You got all that, the pollen and the flour all together. Now, like any good Julia Child's cooking show, I have my backup, my packs, you know what? Let me do something else too. So this show is going to be politics, culture, sports, rants, epiphanies, and marijuana. Now, there's a lot of shows people get baked and talk celebrity shit or just whatever shit. I don't know if there's a political show, a primarily political show that does that. Oh, program note. Let me digress. I'm going to order the Roadcaster for those that are in a podcast and are live streaming. And it's going to allow me to take live calls. So going forward, one of the segments I want to do is live couples counseling. I'm unlicensed, but I'm unpredictable and unstoppable as well. It'll be witty and maybe useful. You never know. Now, like I mentioned before, I'm a single dad. So I'm going to try a new experiment real time to see. This bag here, normally it fixes itself to my volcano. This little valve piece here, it's like in reverse. It's fucking valve piece here is what you compress to inhale. But what I'm thinking is I can do the reverse and use it for my my exhale. So without further ado, let's go. Now this is why I love the packs. Battery life, great. Cleaning is great. Now, this is my my Crafty by Stores and Bickle. I think it's engineered better. It's like convection versus combustion. But it's a pain to fucking... That battery's always dead. Always. Right? And then to clean it, you got to take... There's like a million little pieces in here that you got to clean and soak in alcohol. Fuck that. Who has time for that shit? So, we're going to switch topics and get into the battle of the sexes. Let's just call it the battle of the sexes. Now, let me get my mind right first, because this is deep. And I have to make sure I'm saying the right thing, the way I want to say it. All right, I don't want to leave anything out. I'm going to try to see if I can go back to... it might be working now. Maybe I can get to my notes. Let's just see. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, I got to do that. I think it worked. I got one more politics topic before I get to men and women. I'm going to make a deal with President Trump. Oh, one more thing, too. I'm rushing. I want to be done at 1 o'clock, so I'm going to try to keep this thing to a tight hour. Now, I am black. I start late, finish early. You know how niggas want to do. I'm done. I wonder, can I smoke this back, like give myself a shotgun? Oh my fucking God. Do you see how the brilliance comes? I just invented something and I said it first. It's fucking amazing. Matter of fact, hey, let's watch my intro again. My son did that beat, by the way. I just bought him an MPC one. He didn't make that beat on him. He did that shit on the computer, but before he got an MPC one, now he got some little hot beats. That one was I don't like that, but whatever. It's fucking original music. I ain't worried about getting sued. Oh, so Bernie supporters, or just let's say progressive socialists, whatever, people that are really on the real, like the left, right? Like leftist populism for the work union people, like old school, right? Okay, we don't support Trump. I get that part, right? But would it not be better to have Trump for 4 years than Biden, and Biden-like philosophy, potentially 12 years? How do I get 12 years? Biden wins, has Stacey Abrams or Kamala Harris, God forbid, as his running mate. Not Abrams. I don't know anything about her. I don't know good or bad, but Kamala Harris, whatever. If they wore the ticket, like, who has the ideas? Because Kamala Harris just, she wants to be president. And if I was going to coach her, like I have my political consultancy like up and running, Kamala, smile more. And I know you're not supposed to say that because of sexism, whatever, but seriously, you're scowling all the time. I get it. You're a woman in politics. You got to appear tough, but You locked up enough niggas as DA. We get it. You're fucking tough, right? You'll start a war. Smile, you know? Speaking of which, let me go back to Joe Biden real quick. I was going to get into playing the whole corn pop fucking thing. I'll give him one piece of credit for that corn pop shit. He knew what pomade was. Anytime a white person uses pomade in a sentence, fluidly, contextually, and appropriately, they get a little bit of credit in my book, right? They know some niggas. But the funny thing, I'll just say this about the whole corn pop story. For those that don't know, go Google this shit. Just go Google Joe Biden corn pop story. And imagine this man might be your president. If you think Trump was dumb, I mean, come on. But basically the whole reasoning, the motivation to go work in the hood pool was he wanted to go on a ghetto safari and learn about roaches. I bullshit you not. Just watch the whole video. This nigga is crazy. And also, one more thing about, see, politics to me, people overcomplicate it, right? Joe Biden is funny looking, right? The same reason why Kerry lost in 2004 to Bush, right? It's not about pretty, right? Who's better looking. Like Bernie Sanders is an old Jew dude, right? But he looks like a happy little grandpa, he's cuddly. He's got a appropriately aged face. Joe Biden looks like the dude who used to be cool and he thinks he's like the quarterback still. And he's fucking tucked his face back and injected a bunch of shit in it. And he's got that weird smile like you don't want him around your kids alone, right? And he's always touching everybody, right? Now, I think I got to play this video. Now, I'm going to play it next time because I'm between technical difficulties. But there's a video of him. There's the ones everybody knows about again with women, right? And grabbing the hair and smelling and shit. But just look at the endorsement video when the nigga from Indiana, that's another thing I can't stand, Mayor Pete. Let me digress some more. This show should be called May I Digress. I hate fucking Mayor Pete. You know why? Because I hear all these motherfuckers talking about identity politics, right? When you hear identity politics, what does that mean to you? It means some nigga got elected or some chick, right? It's always about race, particularly black, right? Or gender. But is that the only form of identity politics? Remember just early in the show, I was talking about what binds us tribally. Is it just pigmentation? Is it something else? What is it, right? Mayor Pete and Donald Trump, ironically, but let me stick with Mayor Pete right now. They're all identity politics. What did Mayor Pete stand for? It was Midwestern values. What the fuck are Midwestern values? Well, like, are they the good people and the people in New York and LA are just like fucking their sisters? Like, what are you trying to say? Like, we don't have values are there special values that only the Midwest has? I've been to the Midwest. Look at meth addicts, serial killers. What the fuck? It's not special. Y'all are not morally superior. I wouldn't say inferior, but if you had to pick one, I would go with inferior. I forgot the fuck I was talking about. Oh, when Trump endorsed this thing, I'm sorry, when Pete endorsed Biden, go look at the video. Biden like gives him a shoulder massage. It's the creepiest fucking thing ever. And gay ass Mayor Pete turned around and looked at that nigga like I know I'm gay, but nigga, that's sexual assault. Can you please remove your hands? For all you intersexual feminists, I'm not apologizing or whatever. I didn't say anything right. Speaking of which, can we officially tonight agree, all of us, Farmer Hodge to God, I said it first. Hashtag I said it first. We're going to bury, like, remember that whole bullshit long time ago when Kramer got caught calling everybody nigga at his comedy show? And then Al Sharpton and a bunch of other monkeys went and did some performance piece where they buried the word nigga. Can we do that for the word cis, please? Now, true story. I know what the fuck cis meant about 3 years ago. I was married for a long time and got so from late 20s all the way through my 30s to right around the start of my 41, 42, whatever the fuck it was, 43, divorce, right? So then you got to get back in the dating game. And of course, somewhere in those 15 years, nobody meets in person. Everything's on an app, right? And then you go to the profiles and then you see a little thing, right? And somebody see a chick and she look funny, right? And it would say TS next to her name. I was like, oh, I know what that means. That's transsexual. Swipe right. Then you see somebody and this chick would look good. Like she looked like she all chick. And it would say CIS. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck that means. But I guess it's some gay shit. And I'm a swipe right. And let me digress some more. For all of you people who should be allies with me on populist economic issues, who are triggered because of the way I talk or what I find humorous, go kill yourself, and you're the reason why we lose. And that's what the American Farmers Party is going to be all about. Populist economic message that appeals to the left and the right, right? Strip away the cultural issues and then we have the power because we outnumber you, okay? But yeah, let's get rid of the word cis. I heard somebody, and that's another thing. I got all these thoughts because now all the ideas are coming back. See? This shit works. I see this fat black broad on the Young Turks, right? And I like the Young Turks. I like The Hill. I like Joe Rogan. I like that nigga Jimmy Dore. I like Kyle Kaczynski, Michael Brooks, and it's and some of them I like Tucker Carlson for some reason. I don't know why, but so anyway, I got a broad perspective, whatever. But oh man, what the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, this fat black broad was on the Young Turks, and she called this nigga a cis white male something patriarchy, privilege, entitled power structure, like all in the same sentence. And like every intersectional buzzword just fucking rammed together, right? And I was like, you said, first of all, let's get things straight. Cis just means normal. Yeah, I said it, normal. Mathematically speaking, you don't have to be triggered. If a man is 8 feet tall, that is abnormal. It doesn't mean that, well, fuck, if you're 7 feet 2 inches tall, you are abnormal. But abnormal can be advantageous, right? If you have 175 IQ, that is abnormal. Because the ab and the norm and the blah, 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 you get it? It's a math reference, right? There's the norm and there's the non-norm, an abnorm. So, if you are male physically and mentally, you think that's the way it should be, and you like pussy, you're cis, aka normal. So why do we have to say it? It's like the word Asian. The fuck is an Asian? That's like saying human. Half the population is Asian of the fucking earth. Officer. The man, he went that way. Oh, not even the person, he went that way. What the fuck was it? An Asian. Oh, thanks. Only got 3.5 billion people to look for. That's cis? Really? So she was saying it, but then here's the thing. It's not just, she said, cis white male, blah, blah. She said, and a cis white male, a cis. He was cis white male. And she said it like shit was coming out of her mouth, right? And I'm like, the disdain which she has for cis white males is the same disdain that fucking racists have for black people. Like you're hating him because of the way he was born. And that's why I think we need more diversity, thought diversity. I refuse to what's the word I'm looking for? Where you give something up. To relinquish leftist, socialist, populist economic issues to the woke crowd. Now, all the woke shit ain't bad. A readdressing of history is a good thing. But the sensitivity and the absurd reactions are unnecessary. Now, I'm going to save my story about, let me just give you a little clue. I might be converting to Islam, right? But don't worry. I will still be getting high. Just like the Prophet Muhammad did, by the way. Okay? The Prophet Muhammad, okay? Not Ali. The other one. So, my little situation / future long-term situation / sexy baby from another culture needs me to convert to marry a nigga. Now, we're going to talk about this in upcoming shows. And we'll talk together. When people call into the show, we're going to talk about this. But I'm going to leave you with this. When I'm learning about Islam, and ironically, we're in Ramadan right now. Ramadan is pretty fucking progressive, right? If you take the God angle out of it, Ramadan is essentially a month of self-care. Like when I heard fasting as a kid, I'm like, y'all motherfuckers crazy. You're going to starve to death. But it's not that kind of fasting. It's literally a 16-hour fast window, roughly, and an 8-hour feed window, like every fucking thing else everybody else is doing, right? Intermittent fasting. It's about getting outside of yourself and helping others and the poor and shit like that, right? And especially now with the Rona situation, we're learning that you can live on the biggest mountain with the biggest house and all this shit. When you are alone, it saps something from you. It's the inner. As human beings, we are communal, right? Which is why socialism works, right? I don't know what the angle is, but I think I'm a business friendly socialist. Is my fucking we need to arm the word socialism. We're going to talk about that in future episodes. Now, let me go back to, I'm going to go 3, then 2 to get the little graphic to come back. You see my notes there? Let me go to 2. All right. Will my movie come back? Oh, no, I got to undo it. There we go. In future episodes, we're going to talk about, I'm going to lead next show with the sex stuff. And just give you a little teaser. Men in America have become pussies. And I'm going to explain. Hold on. That's the right. No. Whatever. I'm going to explain why. And it's related to the whole Islam thing. I appreciate you guys staying up. Action items or call to action. I appreciate you guys to go like my page if you're watching this on YouTube. And then what do they call that? Hit the bell. Get the alerts. My intention is to come. You guys are just, you know what? Since I smoke so much weed, I forget everything, right? So I'm using Google like a fucking task app. I bought a little mic and a camera and shit just to take notes. Because when I have these brilliant ideas, right, I forget them. All right. We're going to go through the movie I'm working on, Mahalo Homeboy. It's a story of 4 brothers, one of whom we're all from my character's my character. From Cali, moved to D.C. And post-marriage, four brothers going through midlife crises at different stages in their life, figuring out life in Hawaii, which one of our homeboys, Patsy, he light-skinned is living in, and we love it. We're going back. A lot more to come. Please stick around. Check me out on Twitter and Facebook and all that shit. I'm going to figure this whole thing out so you guys can comment, call in. It's going to be in blast. All right. Peace. Remember, it's Farmer Haas to God. I said it first. I'm the one you got your ideas from. P.